Hello and welcome to Husky Talk. I am your host, the best podcast host in the universe, Steve Cully. I'd like to thank our sponsors at Parseghian Partners. Parseghian Partners, they specialize in wealth management, retirement planning, and employee benefits. They are one of the top 50 fastest growing companies in the nation. President Sean Rabinowitz, love him. He's been a consultant. He's been a great friend, and he is a proud supporter of Husky Talk. We also have Green Street Trust International, owned and operated by Rennell Jump. They offer a variety of services, but they specialize in doing tax planning for businesses. They will save you money regardless. Either save you money or surprise you and sometimes get you a tax return. So for your free tax strategy planning session, go to www.greenstreettrust.com. And then we have the Finch firm, which is with attorney Peter Finch. He's out of Bridgeport, Connecticut. He's one of the best. If you suffered any type of personal injury, a slip and fall, if a construction beam hit you at a construction site, if your mother-in-law tried to run you over with her car, the Finch firm is for you. Pete's fought legal battles all over the state of Connecticut, and he will go to war to get every dollar you deserve in compensation. Go to http://thefinchfirm.com and get a free consultation. And now for the man of the hour, UConn legend, Mr. Scott Mitchell. Welcome to Husky Talk.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much. I appreciate you having me.
Sorry for the long intro, but yeah,
no worries.
I'm excited to have you. I've heard so much about you, and it's good because I don't know your story, so this is going to be a chance for me to learn and for everyone else to learn as well.
Sure, absolutely.
Just so I know, did you get an opportunity to watch any of the UConn games this past season?
Yeah, I was able. I tried my best to see if I could. I try to catch a few games. I do my best to try to follow them. I know that they had a really successful year and they're really moving in the right direction. I was able to catch the bowl game a little bit, but they've looked pretty good, I have to say, and I'm kind of excited to see what they do in the next couple of years.
Yeah, I thought the same thing. After they struggled in 2023, they definitely came out this year and performed very, very well. The quarterback situation, I think Joe Figiano has another year, which is good.
Oh, okay, great. Yeah,
I think they got to go with him. I know Nick Evers was the guy they brought in, but Joe kind of proved that he's the man. The running game is solid. The defense, they lost some key starters with Jelani Stafford and Jaden McDonald, Malik Dixon-Williams. But hopefully, they got a good class. Dave and I were reviewing the film of the transfers and the freshmen that are coming in, and they definitely did a great job. And I give Mike Burton all the credit. He runs the NIL Collective, Store Central, which helps football. And then obviously Mr. Mark D'Amelio, does an outstanding job helping us raise money. So your story, where does it begin? Where are you from initially?
Oh, okay. Well, I'm from Hamden, Connecticut.
Okay.
Right next to New Haven. Yeah, right next to New Haven there.
I love Hamden.
Yeah, absolutely. So grew up right there. Went to Notre Dame High School, which is an all-boys school.
Oh, yeah, they're good.
There in West Haven. Primarily, my mother sent me there just mostly for behavioral issues at first. but honestly, it was probably the best thing that ever happened to me, to be honest with you. But played at Notre Dame. Did track and football, and then was blessed to have an opportunity to play football at UConn, which again was the second blessing in my life. And I think, I needed UConn football probably more than they needed me at that point in my life. So that was amazing. And I really can't complain. I had such a great experience through the whole process. Met some incredible people, played football, and it's been nothing but great. Kind of set me up for the rest of my life, to be honest with you.
Did you play early on as a youth? Were you someone who played when you were 8, 9 years old right away?
I started playing in 7th grade.
Oh wow!
Yeah, we
So
started playing
you
Pop
started
Warner.
late. Okay.
Yeah, it's fun. A funny story. My 2 really good friends growing up both went to UConn. So when I was in 7th grade and started playing football, our quarterback was Scott Burrell. I don't know if you know Scott Burrell. He played basketball at UConn.
He
And
was the quarterback?
Yeah,
Oh
he was
my
our quarterback.
God.
So Scott and I were really good friends. I moved to Connecticut and halfway through my 5th grade year. So when I started playing football, Scott and I met, and we played football together and basketball together and some different things. And so he ended up going to UConn, obviously, to play basketball. And then,
Yeah.
at Notre Dame, one of my really good friends, Johnny Regain, he played baseball at UConn. So it was really interesting that 2 of my very good friends both went
Ended
to
up
UConn,
there.
which was really cool. Yeah.
Oh, good. So maybe you can get Scott Burrell to come on the show for me.
I'll
That'd
reach
be
out
great.
to him. I'll
Oh
reach
my
out to
God.
him.
I cannot
I
believe
still
it.
keep in touch with him. Yeah, I still keep in touch.
Was he a good quarterback?
Oh, unbelievable.
He was just a tremendous athlete. Yeah.
He was unbelievable. Yeah, he was a great quarterback, obviously a great pitcher, and obviously a great basketball player. But
no
yeah,
idea he was from Connecticut.
yeah, he's from Hamden. We keep in touch some. Well, I played with his brother Abbott. So Abbott was a senior my freshman year at UConn. So his brother played football with me. I played football with his brother for a year.
Oh, okay. Okay. So you started in 7th grade and you started in Pop Warner. So, I
Yep.
mean, when you play later, it's a little bit difficult to pick it up. How did you
Yeah.
feel picking up the game? How did you feel getting hit? Did you like it? Did you love it from the start, or did it take some time?
Yeah. You know what? I'd always wanted to play football as a little kid.
Yeah.
And so, 7th grade, Pop Warner was my first opportunity. No, I think I fell in love with it right away, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I was, in Pop Warner, the bigger kid. I was a defensive end, and I was like a running back and a receiver, and I played all these weird positions that I ended up not playing, in high school. But it was a lot of fun. In fact, I was a defensive end, and Scott Burrell was an outside linebacker. Yeah, it was pretty funny. So we were just tall and skinny. That's all.
They just threw you all over.
Yeah, we were one of the taller kids, so they put us over there. But no, we had a lot of fun. And after playing 7th and 8th grade with Scott and Pop Warner, he ended up going to Hamden High School, and I went to West Haven. So we were rivals, and we played each other
Yes.
Thanksgiving Day, which was
That
really
was the
fun.
big game. That was the bowl game, I remember. Because I actually I coached at Windsor, so I remember.
Okay, awesome.
I remember the Thanksgiving games being that was the bowl game. That was the huge rivalry.
Yes.
That was like rivalry week. Everyone loved it.
Yeah, so we got to play against each other a little bit.
Played against each other.
Yep.
So now there's Hamden and there's Hamden Hall, correct? Is that how it works?
Hamden Hall. Yeah,
That's
Hamden
the
Hall was a
school.
private school. Yeah, this was Hamden High is the public school. That's where Scott.
So he went to the public one. Okay.
Yeah.
And then you played 1 year at West Haven, and then ended up over at Notre Dame.
I actually played at Notre Dame all 4 years. Notre Dame is in West Haven. Yeah, Notre Dame is in West Haven. Yeah.
Okay.
So I played there, since my freshman year. Yeah.
Now, did you like Notre Dame? I mean, it's got to be a different experience because you got to wear a uniform and
I did not. No,
it's
so
very strict.
My mother said, "You got to go there. You got to try it, or else you're not going to make it out of high school." So I went over there.
They're very strict, right?
Moderately. You had to wear a coat and tie, but you had to wear a jacket when you're in the hallway. At first, I didn't like it at all, right? You could imagine what a difference.
It's a shock, yeah.
But lucky for me, their coaches were unbelievable. Coach Tom Marcucci was a legend in Connecticut. He coached football and baseball. Coach Jerry Charleglio, who was ended up going on to being a head coach at Holy Cross in Waterbury after, he was there when
Oh,
I was there. So those guys end up becoming like father figures to me. So I figured out real quick that that's where I needed to be. They really they wanted me to succeed, and it ended up being kind of a really important turning point in my life at a young age.
now was it a situation where you go to class and then after class, did they make you do like a study hall and then you went to practice, or would you have study hall after? Were they strict like that?
No, not really. It's pretty
Okay,
much like a kind of like a normal high school, except it's all boys. You got to dress up a little bit, and then you
right.
go to, and then you regular play, go to practice and do all that other stuff. So,
And
but
you
the
were lucky
usual stuff.
that you had good coaches, which is huge.
Absolutely, no, absolutely. I needed that really bad in my life, so
What
it worked out well.
what position did you play?
Believe it or not, I was a wishbone quarterback, and then I played
Wow.
defensive back. I know, and I played defensive back.
I mean, quarterback's tough, especially making that adjustment from kind of jumping all over the place.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
they set you at quarterback, and a
They just
wishbone
put me.
quarterback, you're
Yeah.
running, right?
Yes. Yeah. So we ran the I for a little bit, but my senior year, the coaches switched to a wishbone just to take advantage of me just kind of running. But I played out of the I my junior year, and then the wishbone my senior year.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
How did the
I'm
team
not.
do?
I was not a great thrower. I threw a little bit. Nothing
Now,
great though.
what yeah, I can imagine, because the wishbone, I mean, you're obviously reading for the dive and then the
Yep.
pitch and then you
Yeah.
keep it. So it's, I mean,
Yep.
it's usually a triple option, and you got to make decisions quick
Yeah. Yep.
on what you're going to
Yeah.
do.
It's funny because like I grew up, early in my high school, when I was in high school, I used to love watching college football on Saturdays, and I used to watch Jamel Holloway run the wishbone for Oklahoma back in the day, and I used to just that was like one of my favorite things to watch, and I ended up running the wishbone, a year or two later, in high school, so it's kind of interesting.
And did you like the wishbone? Did
Oh,
you
I
thoroughly
loved
like
it.
it?
I loved it. I get
Good.
to run the ball almost every time.
Do you remember statistically how many yards rushing you ended up with?
Oh no, I don't. I don't.
But
I
you
I,
obviously rushed for a
I
lot.
ran the ball a lot. Yeah, I ran the ball a lot. Yeah, especially my senior year. Yeah, my
So,
junior year, I played quarterback, and then our running back got hurt, so I got moved to running back because we had a senior quarterback
oh,
that was decent. So I played a little bit of running back my junior year a little bit, but I played probably more quarterback, but I did play some running back too.
got you. Now, recruiting back then was a lot different than it is
Oh my
now.
gosh, so different.
Were you like, did coaches come through school to see different players?
Yes,
Were you making tapes and sending them out to
yes,
be recruited? Okay, so
yes.
you did all that.
Yeah. The coaches were really instrumental in that. So back then, coaches would actually send full game tapes, VHS,
Yes, that's what it
full game
was.
tapes to colleges, and then they would come by and pull you out of class and do
Yes.
all that stuff. So it was much different than it is now.
No, because that's exactly what I had to do. I remember my dad got one of those machines where we put the game tape in and a blank tape, and it would
Yeah.
dub the game tape really, really fast. And like
Yep.
we must have sent out like 100 game tapes everywhere
Yeah.
just to
Yeah.
try to get a look, because my area was not highly recruited. So to get
Okay.
people
Where are
to
you
come
from?
here, upstate New York, upstate
Oh,
New York.
okay. What
So we
part?
don't it's Utica. It's in between
Okay.
Syracuse and Albany.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've heard of Utica.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we don't get a lot of recruiting. Like, to this day, I am the only Division 1 player that ever came out of the last Division I player to come out of our high school, New Hartford.
Wow.
Yeah, because it just we didn't have a lot of talent and we didn't get recruited a lot.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
now back then it was also different. Did you go to any camps like between your
Yeah, we did.
junior and senior year?
I did a couple like early on. I remember
You
going to
did.
somewhere down in New Jersey, and I remember going somewhere like I can't remember if it was like Sacred Heart University, somewhere down in the Fairfield area. I remember going to a couple places.
Yeah, that
But
makes sense.
it was just old school. I think coaches trying to reach out to colleges and send out tapes, and I
Yeah.
mean it was definitely a grind back then.
So when would you say you started to get recruited? Were you getting recruited after your junior year?
Yeah,
Or
it's funny because I never even thought about like going to college. Like I never even thought about that.
wasn't on the radar?
No, like I was just trying to get through, man. And so, I would say like the end of my junior year, my high school coach says, Scott, I'm gonna get you a full scholarship, and I was like, what? And so
You were blown away.
then I started thinking, are you crazy? Like, so, yeah, honestly, I wasn't one of those kids that had like these big, huge dreams. Like, look, I wasn't someone that looked way out into the future. I was literally going day by day.
That's how
Like,
I was. Yeah.
and I couldn't think that big. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I didn't think about it. So honestly, until like kind of going into my senior year is when I started realizing there's maybe a chance. I think winning the decathlon my junior year for some reason put me on some people's radar as a football player, which sounds kind of weird, but
No, that's a big deal.
yeah. So that I think that helped, to be honest with you.
Right.
So
How were your grades academically?
I was decent, not
Yeah.
crazy, like like a B, something like that.
Yeah, you were B, and
Yeah,
you did
nothing
okay
crazy.
on the SAT. You were fine on the SAT.
I hung in there.
You Well, you were a qualifier. That's all that counts.
Exactly. But yeah. So I had no idea. I was like, I was blown away by even the thought of something like that. To be honest with you.
Because I coached college football. I coached at Holy Cross, Colgate, and Dartmouth for 10 years, and
my goodness,
we valued other sports. So
yeah,
like I would go watch a basketball game of a recruit.
Right.
I would watch a track meet of a recruit. So if you dominated and won the decathlon, I mean, that is something that would absolutely stand out and put you ahead of other recruits because it shows that you are a tremendous athlete to be able to do all that.
Right.
So you go into your senior year, you're playing quarterback. Schools are coming to visit. What would you say like your top schools were that were interested in you or ended up offering you scholarships?
Oh, so first of all, some schools didn't know what to do with me. They were kind of recruiting me as an athlete.
You're an athlete.
Yeah. And so my junior year, I did play some defensive back, but they're trying to reserve me a little bit. So my senior year, I played a lot of defense. I played all over the place.
Oh,
so,
okay.
So
you playing both ways. Jesus.
Yeah. And the interesting thing is I was recruited anywhere from receiver to a defensive back, even running back in some cases to an athlete. But I distinctly remember Army calling me, and I was like, that's a hard no. Like, I just can't, that's just not something that I was interested in. But I would say, obviously, UConn, Villanova.
Oh, yeah.
I remember Army reaching out to me. I remember there was an Ivy League actually reached out to me, which I thought was pretty funny. And I can't remember who it was. It wasn't like Yale or Harvard, but it was like maybe
Dartmouth, Brown.
Yeah, somebody
Princeton,
like that had reached out to me, and I was like, I don't think I could do that either. Um, I actually wanted to go to Syracuse, and
Me
so
too. That was my
really,
dream.
I wanted to go to Syracuse. So my coach reached out. He know them, and he's like, "Nah, we have enough. We see him as a defensive back. We have enough. We don't. We're not gonna offer him." And so that was pretty tough. But that's kind of where I wanted to go for some reason.
Oh my God,
Um,
yeah. That
yeah,
was
it
my
was
dream
weird.
too. I
Really,
wanted
that's so funny.
Well, Syracuse is only 30 minutes away from where I live.
Okay.
Both my parents went to Syracuse,
Oh,
and
okay.
we went to every home game. We had season tickets. So I was there during the McNabb era when McNabb played.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, like I
So
would
they
have
were
done
good. They were good. They were good.
They were
Then.
amazing. They were
Yeah.
amazing. I would have done anything to go to Syracuse. If you told me to walk naked to Syracuse, I would have done it if they would have taken me. But yeah,
Yeah,
I didn't
that's
get
kind
them.
of where I don't know how I came. That's where I wanted to go.
Yeah, and then UConn. How did they come into the picture? Were they late to the party, or were they
No,
always around?
I was being recruited by Ted Walton, who
Okay.
yeah, he and I connected really quick. We kind of had a lot of similarities, and so Ted was my main guy that recruited me, and then obviously, Coach Jackson, which again, we just recently passed away. Just
R.I.P. Yeah, I know.
what
I
a
know.
I appreciated him so much, just giving me an opportunity to even go to college for free, for
Everyone
no
says
less.
that. Yeah.
So I owe him, the world. So, I, shout out to his family, and I think about him often. But
Yeah.
he came in. Back then, I don't even know. I don't even know what the recruiting world is like so much now. I mean, I went through it with my
Oh,
kids,
it's
but
a mess now.
like back then, do they still do home visits? Do coaches
Yes,
still do
yes,
home?
yeah.
Okay, all right.
They'll do
So
home visits. Yes.
okay, so I remember Coach Jackson coming to my home, and
Then
I remember him.
that means they love you.
Yeah, so I remember that, and I remember him coming to my school, obviously, um, and it was, my mother's oblivious to everything. So, like I said, I don't come from a family where people go to college and things like that. So I dealt with all my recruiting on my own, by
Yeah.
myself. And
Yeah. Well,
so,
yeah. Well, your coaches probably helped guide you a little
yeah,
bit too.
absolutely. Yep. They helped me some, but I remember crazy story. I just remember, I forget what the date was, but they call me, and back then you pick up the phone in the kitchen or whatever. And they said, Scott, this is Coach Jackson. We want to offer you a full scholarship. I accepted right on the spot.
I said yes, yes. I
I
mean,
was like, what? And he was like, yeah, we want to offer you a full scholarship. I'm like, I'm in. So I
yeah.
hang up the phone, and I yell up to my mother,
I'm
Mom,
going to UConn.
I've got a scholarship to UConn, and that's where I'm going. She's like, oh, that's great. But that's literally how it happened.
That's crazy.
Honestly, I was just thankful. Like, I was like, this person wants me to come play football, and so I was like, yeah, I'm in. Let's go.
Did you go up to any games at all during the season? Did you
Nope.
see them play?
Nope.
Okay.
Nope.
Had
Nope.
you been to campus at all?
Nope.
Never saw the
Nope.
campus.
Nope.
Wow.
Nope.
You're exactly like me. I committed without seeing the campus. I committed without visiting anything like that. That's crazy.
Yep. I mean,
so
I eventually went up on a visit with a group of recruits and did all that stuff. But
you did the
honestly,
official.
like where I'm from, I was so excited to even have that opportunity.
Well, yeah, you're in state too.
It could have absolutely. It probably could have been anyone, but I'm thankful it was UConn because I live an hour away. It ended up working out great, but
your family got to see you play.
Yeah, I was so shocked by the whole thing. I just accepted right on the spot.
So like Villanova didn't officially offer you, but they had talked to you quite a bit.
You know what? Nobody even had it. I don't think anyone really had a chance because I accepted the first one.
Once you accepted, yeah, right.
That was it.
No, that's good. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
And it was weird because I would have had opportunities to run track in college.
Was that something you wanted to do?
No, nope.
Okay.
Nope. But I would have. But I don't know if you know this, but I actually ran indoor track my freshman year at UConn.
I did not know that. Okay.
Yeah,
so they let you run indoor.
They did, but it was really tough. Like it was tough to do two sports.
Oh, at the Division I level.
It was
It's unheard of.
really hard. I mean, I enjoyed it and I did well, but it was tough because you're going early for football, right? So you're getting
Yep.
there August
The
1st.
workouts. Yep.
I had to stay there all Christmas into
Over
whatever.
Christmas
So
break,
I
right?
missed all of that. Then I was doing some football workouts and track workouts, and then I went into spring football. It was really it was tough.
Wow.
Yeah, it was tough.
Wow.
Yeah, it was tough. But I did it for 1 year.
You did try it your freshman year.
Yeah, and just indoor.
What did you run indoor? The 200 or
the multi event. So they had a pentathlon, which is 5 events.
Oh my God! Wow.
So it's like hurdles, long jump, high jump, shot put, meter run. Yeah.
So
I did that.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it was interesting.
Coach Roy, just because you're a tremendous athlete, so that's probably why they put you in there.
Yeah, Coach Roy, tried.
He was amazing.
Over. Yeah, and I guess the football coaches let me do it, but Coach Roy was another one that was absolutely awesome. I know he just recently retired, right?
He did. Yes.
Just a couple of years ago. He was great too. Funny story about Coach Roy. We're in the New England Championships up at MIT. I'm doing the pentathlon. So I ended up, I'm in the lead, right? I'm a freshman. I'm winning the whole thing. I'm a terrible long distance runner. So whatever.
Yeah, right.
So I lose the pentathlon. I end up getting second place because the 1,000 meters, I didn't do that.
Is that the mile or?
No, it's just a little bit less than a mile, but I'm not built to run,
No,
distance.
No.
So whatever, that's fine. I get second.
Second's great.
Yeah. He throws me into the high jump. Okay. So the starting, the individual high jump, the starting height is 6'7". Okay. The starting height is 6'7".
Oh my God.
So listen, I clear the starting height. This is a true story. I clear the starting height. Then I miss the next one and I'm out. Okay. I end up tying for 6th place and getting a half a point. We actually won the New England Championships by half a point that year.
Because of your high jump.
I mean, I'm just saying that half a point. He threw me in the high jump and I get a half a point. It was so funny. It was absolutely hilarious.
Was that the first time that you had ever done the high jump?
Well, the high jump's in the pentathlon.
It is okay.
But I had already run 5 events and I did
were dead.
Hurdles. Yeah. And so he wanted me to do it, and I cleared one height, and I think I got like 6th place. It was really funny.
Amazing.
Yeah, it was hilarious. And he was all excited. Back then, I don't even know if this would happen or not. Him and my roommate, which was Alex Davis, who also played football.
Yes, I'm trying to get him on. Yes.
He and I drove home with Coach Roy in his car. It was the weirdest thing. Oh my goodness! But Coach Roy was awesome. He was absolutely awesome.
I heard that.
Yeah.
Everyone has said that about him.
Yeah, he was great. Awesome. But I did have a lot of fun, but it was too much. It was too much.
Your freshman year of football, that must have been like for me when I got to UConn. The first 2 weeks I was I'm an offensive lineman. I don't think I touched anyone. Like you could have put a cone out there. Like I was useless. I couldn't adjust to the speed, the physicality. I just felt like I couldn't do anything. It took me such a long time to catch up. How did you feel you came in and adjusted in camp? Like, were you good to go? Did you feel like you competed well?
No, I think there was definitely an adjustment. So I redshirted my freshman year.
Right, which is what you want.
I definitely there's definitely was an adjustment for sure.
Yeah.
I think probably mostly the physicality, like the size of of the running backs, the size of the tight ends. I think there definitely was a little bit of an adjustment there for me. I matured a little bit late, so I can't remember. My freshman year, maybe I was 190 pounds. I can't remember.
Oh my God! Wow.
Maybe 185. I don't even know. But so I definitely needed some time.
You developed.
Yeah, absolutely.
And what position initially did you come in as?
I was a safety.
Okay, so you were a safety.
Yeah.
And yeah, absolutely. Yep. You have to develop and get better, and it's great that they redshirted you. And I still tell kids today, they get disappointed if they get redshirted. I said, being redshirted is the best thing for you. It gives you an
Yeah,
opportunity to grow, develop, mature, and then you have a better chance to compete as a redshirt freshman, as a sophomore.
absolutely. Yeah.
You're getting an extra year. So, and it's funny now because kids took advantage of COVID, and there's kids that have played for 6 years.
Right.
There's that
Right.
kid from Miami who played for 9 years.
Right.
Like
Right.
it's nuts.
It is.
So after your redshirt, how did you do your redshirt freshman year? Were you in the
So
mix?
yeah. So my redshirt freshman year, I was the nickel. So I
Okay,
was in all the
good.
packages with 5 DBs or more. I
Yes,
played a ton. I played a ton of special teams. So I played a lot. It's funny
right.
because I think it was it Belcourt that brought up Natron Means. Somebody brought up Natron Means from the
It
because
was,
of the
it was
bowl game.
Belcourt. It
So
was
I have
Belcourt.
I have my own Natron Means story. So it's my second college game ever. I mean, I'm a
Was it?
redshirt freshman. Second
Was that
college
at
game
North
ever.
Carolina? Was
It
that
was
North
at
Carolina?
North Carolina,
Yes.
right?
Yeah, it was
So
Belcourt.
I'm there. I'm part of the nickel package. I'm the backup safety. Our safety goes down early in the game. So I
Oh
go.
God.
So now I'm playing safety. They run a toss sweep. This is a true story. I tell the story all the time. They run a toss sweep to Natron Means, 230, 40 pound, whatever he is. I'm like a buck 90. I'm like, okay, I'm running the alley as hard as I've ever run in my life. He's coming down the sideline. I hit him as hard as I can. He rolls me up into our side. By the time I open my eyes up, I'm laying on my back, and my teammates are looking down at me. It's a true story. True story. That was like my intro to college football. I barely got him out of bounds, and I hit him as hard as I could. I pop up, thankfully,
You
and I,
trucked
I
him.
go back
Yeah.
into play. But it was I don't know if I've ever been hit that hard in my life, and it was really, really
But you,
funny. But
you
like,
got him out of bounds. You did your
barely,
job.
barely. So it was funny when they had brought up Natron Means. I'm like, oh man, I have my own Natron Means story. But what an experience that was. But I mean, it was fun, but it was challenging to
Yeah, I
be
couldn't
thrown in,
believe
to
it.
be
I
thrown
had no
into that.
idea. I had no
Yeah,
idea back then that you guys played North Carolina, and I
yeah. It
also
was
had
it was
no
real
idea.
random.
I didn't know if I was curious if you were told this because I always ask the other guys. I think Wilbur, Lenny, Belcourt, and Bannister. They all told me that when they were recruited, they were told that we were going to be building a stadium and go to 1A and be in the Big East at some
That's
point
true.
by your
That's all
juniors.
true. That's
They
all
so they
true.
did tell you that as
Yeah. Oh
well.
yeah. Oh, of
Wow,
course.
man,
Yeah.
that blows my mind that
Yeah. Even
there were
back then.
talks back then to
Yeah,
do
that
it,
was 88,
and it
89 when I was being
yeah,
recruited.
and it didn't get done. I know why, because the people of Storrs Mansfield complained about the traffic on 195, so they
Yeah.
didn't want a stadium there, which I thought was
Yeah.
crazy. But
Yeah.
I had no idea that even back then there were talks of going
Yeah.
1A, and they were
Yeah.
telling kids that. They were telling
Yeah.
recruits that.
That was part of the recruiting pitch.
Yes, yes, which is
Yeah,
amazing to me.
absolutely. Nope.
Amazing.
That is all true. That is all true.
And who was your position coach?
Coach Spags, my guy at Kansas
Oh,
City.
you had Spagnolo.
Oh, he was my guy. Yeah.
Oh
I
my
love Spags.
God.
So he was our defensive coordinator and DB coach. So I spent all my
Wow.
time with him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how many years was he there with you?
He was there with me for 3.
Oh, so you had him for most of your career. Okay.
Yeah, for 3 of my 5. Yeah.
That's amazing to me because now he's considered the best of the best.
Oh, I see him on. It's crazy. It's crazy.
When you see him on the
It's crazy.
sidelines.
Yeah,
And
it's so weird.
I didn't know the quality of coaches that came through UConn. I played for Darrell Bevel when he was there, and Bevel was the interim head coach for the Jaguars. He was the
Oh my goodness.
OC for the Packers. OC
Yeah.
for the Seahawks. Like, it was just amazing to me.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then I had Todd Orlando, our DC, who
Oh, I
ended up
remember.
being the
Wasn't he at Texas?
Yep, he was the DC at Texas. Yep.
Yes, I
Now
remember that.
he's at South Florida now. Norris Wilson was my line coach. He was the head coach at Columbia. He was
Okay.
at Rutgers for a while, and now he's at Minnesota. So it's just amazing the coaches that came through UConn. How did the team do during your redshirt freshman year, sophomore year, and
So
that?
we were, let's see, my senior year, we were I think we were, I don't know, somewhere around 6-5-ish.
Yep.
My sophomore year, my redshirt sophomore year was a tough year. I forget what we were, but it was tough. We had Cornelius as our quarterback, who was a stud.
Cornelius Bennett. Yep, I heard about
Yeah, and
him.
then our junior year, we did a little bit better. Senior year was decent. We had a really good year. I can't remember if it was my freshman or redshirt with DeGennaro. I think
Yes, I'm
we
trying to get him as well. I heard he was
we
great.
yeah, he was awesome. We tied for the league
The
title, like
Yankee Conference.
2 or 3-way tie. I can't remember if that was my junior or freshman year. Not pretty good, but we were competitive. I mean, I was having a blast, man. I was just having an absolute. I was living like
That's what
a
everyone
dream.
said. Everyone
I
said
was
that.
living a dream. I never, like I said, I didn't have real big dreams when I was a
Yeah.
kid. So to be able to do all that stuff, man, I was happy as can be.
Well, and you had your family was able to watch you play. You were
Yep,
close,
absolutely,
and
yeah.
and that's the one thing. Like I talked to the guys that played when you played. You were such a close knit group,
Yep,
and everyone still keeps in touch. I think it was Belcourt or Bannister said they have obviously text chats with a bunch of
yep,
guys. They do
yep,
everything to keep in touch, and that's so awesome.
yeah.
So did you really turn it on after your sophomore, junior, senior year? Is that when you continue to like get better and become a stud
Yeah, well, I
and a
started
starter?
I started my sophomore year on. My
Wow,
redshirt sophomore year on. So I got to start for 3 years.
that's awesome.
There's only one game I didn't start. Another funny story. So Rob Clark was my roommate. It was my junior year. He was a senior. Greg Williams was our new DC. He was
Yes,
our
I
new
heard
defensive
about him.
coordinator, and he was as
Bannister called
wide.
him the Fat Man. Bannister
I was
said he
just
was
gonna
the
say,
Fat Man.
listen. I was just gonna say he was as wide as he was tall,
Yeah,
and he was great coach, really hard nosed. Didn't put up with anything.
yeah,
And I listened to stupid Rob Clark about leaving our room to get over to a home game. You have to be over there by a certain time. We walk into the locker room. Nobody's in the locker room. Our face just dropped. So back then
they're out.
so listen, back then we had a locker room, and then you'd have we had all of our meeting spaces, and there was 2 doors that you could close off the meeting spaces and
Yes, they
lock.
closed them off. Right.
When we come over for a game, we go in there and do some meeting, whatever. So we get there, we there's nobody in the locker room. We're like, oh shit. So we walk up to the door, we try to open the door, it's locked. I'm not even kidding. I feel like we're like 2 minutes early, but we're not. And we didn't know what to do. We were a mess. So we're sitting in our lockers, just me and him.
Yeah,
Locker room
yeah.
empty. This
I
is
know the
before a
locker
game.
room. Yeah,
This is before a game. So
yeah.
we're sitting there just looking at each other like, what do we do? Finally, the door's open. He calls us in. We come in. He's losing his mind. He's losing his mind. We were both starting defensive backs. He
Yeah.
loses his mind. So whatever, he goes, you know what, you guys are not starting this game. You're going to sit this game until I tell you that you're going to go in. So we're like, oh my gosh. So listen, so he, whatever, we go through the whole thing. I didn't know this. He sends somebody out to the stadium to talk to our parents. And he said that he wanted them to say, look, Scott, you will not see Scott on the field. He's not hurt. There's nothing wrong with him. But he showed up late, so you'll know why he's not on the field. He sent somebody out there to do that.
That's amazing.
I know. And so,
That's crazy.
He ended up playing us. I want to say he sat us for the first quarter. and then
Yeah.
he put us in. But so that's the only game. That's the only game that I
You
didn't
didn't
start
start.
from my sophomore year on. And man, I'll never forget that as long as I live. That feeling, it was the worst feeling I've ever had in my stomach. It was unbelievable.
Oh, I listen. I've been there. I've been there. I would, when I'm late. I've been late to a lift. Same thing. I'm waiting outside the door for Jerry Martin to
Oh,
let me in,
Coach
and
Martin.
your
Yeah.
stomach just sinks.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to pull the sled or run
Yeah.
stadiums or do something. I know
Oh,
exactly.
it is
Being
the
late,
worst feeling ever. Oh,
being late for a meeting, and that in
yeah.
the old locker room, they had the things that they would pull across to kind of
Yes.
separate
Yes.
the position meetings, so nobody
Yep.
could hear each other. So if you had to walk through someone's meeting, I always remember
Oh,
that
oh my gosh.
guys would be late and they would walk through like the receivers meeting to get to the D
Oh,
line meeting, and they would just catch hell for it from
oh,
everyone.
absolutely. Absolutely.
Did you play your entire career for TJ?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So
Yeah, he was great. So he was
Skip
the
didn't
head
come
coach
until
the whole
after.
time. No, I think Skip might have been right after me, I think.
Yes. Yes.
And they actually had some pretty good seasons with Skip too.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I played for Coach Jackson, and the only change for me was
When
going from
Spags
Coach
left
Spags to Coach Williams. Yeah,
to the
and
Fat
they were
Man.
two totally different. I mean, when I
Yeah.
say opposite, they were about as opposite gets.
That's
So
what I
I mean,
heard.
it was an adjustment from going from Spags to Williams, but both great coaches in their own right.
No, they were. They were.
Both amazing coaches, but very different. Very different.
So, what did you end up majoring at UConn?
I studied. It was like basically like exercise science, and I
Like
minored a little bit.
kinesiology?
Yep. Like
Okay.
kinesiology, exercise science.
Wow, that's
Or
tough.
it was called like sports marketing or management or something back then. But you take exercise
Right.
science with some marketing classes, and I kind of like that stuff.
Did you have like aspirations to be an agent or work with the NFL team or something like that?
You know what? Kind of along with like my whole story, I had no.
Yeah, nobody did.
What I swear, I'm a sophomore. Was Bev there when you were there?
Of course, I love Bev.
Oh man, I have Bev stories too. Bev was the best.
Please tell it. Belcourt told Bev stories. Bev saved our lives. Incredible.
I would go to Bev's. I would stop at Bev's office and I would sleep under one of her desks. I would just take naps under one of her desks.
In between class or whatever.
Listen, she would buy me those breakfast sandwiches. You know the breakfast truck? They would the truck out front. She would go get me breakfast. Bev was unbelievable.
Everyone talks about how amazing she was.
Bev drove down to my house for a graduation party when I graduated from UConn. Like she was something out of this world.
God,
like,
she was so special.
She really was. She really was. So, I'm a sophomore. Bev's like, hey, you gotta pick a major. I'm like, well, how do I do that? So she's trying to work through this. She's like, how about like sports, whatever? I'm like, I like sports. Yeah, fine. Let's just try, let's try that. But same thing, man. I didn't have like this long-term vision. Like it was, I'm just trying to go one day at a time.
You want to get through it. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's funny because, like I had kids that came in with me and they went up to her and they're like, well, I want to major in engineering or I want to do pharmacy. And she's like, no, you can't do that. There's no way. There's no way you're going to make class. You got to pick something else. Right. And I ended up majoring in sociology, which we called majoring in graduation.
Right.
Just so you would graduate. Right. Just so you would graduate. Right.
Oh,
and
man, funny.
When I went to a game this year, I went with Mike Burton, and Bev came to the little tailgate that we had.
Oh man!
And she handed me $100 bill And I'm like, Bev, what are you doing? She's like, no, this is for your podcast. I love your podcast.
Oh, wow.
Please, honey, take it. I said, Bev, I can't take your money. She's like, you take my money. I'm like, okay.
Oh, that's awesome.
But yeah, she goes every game. I saw her 2 or 3 times. She's 80 years old. She looks absolutely stunning. And
That's crazy.
I told her, I'm going to have her on the show when
please do
when she has time. Yeah, no, I am. She's working through some things with her husband. She's helping him right now. But when things get better off, she's definitely going to come on. She watches the show. She's been a huge supporter. But that's funny. So you ended up majoring in sports management.
Yeah, or something. Yeah, sports management, sports marketing. I don't know.
Right. Did you intern anywhere over the summer? Did you work or did you take class?
Oh man, so I had to do an intern at the very end. Do you remember what starter jackets?
Oh, of course.
Okay, so I got this intern downtown New Haven with this company that worked with starter jackets. In fact, I think they did their logo or they do logos or something like that.
Yes.
So I did like a little internship with them, just whatever. I'd go in there and observe stuff or whatever. So I can't remember the name of the company, but all I remember is that they did a lot of work with the starter company, and they did a lot of stuff with logos. They kind of designed logos, which was kind of interesting. But so I did something with them my senior year, but during the summers, when I was up at campus all summer to take some classes, but during the summers I would install above ground pools.
Oh, wow. I
you know what?
I heard that was
that's what I would do.
That was one of the jobs that was handed down. A lot of guys.
That's what I would do. I would do that.
And that's tough work. And then you'd have to go work out.
Yeah. Wow. So I would do that. But so it was good. It was good.
So you graduate. What do you do immediately after graduation? What do you get into?
So, man, I'm just lost, right?
I know.
I don't know about you, but the spring of your last year when you're no longer required, like you don't.
I know. I was a mess. Yes.
Like, they don't have the schedule for you.
Yeah.
You wake up and you could do whatever you want.
I was a mess. Yes,
I was an
too.
absolute wreck. I had no idea what to do. Everyone else is leaving for, practice and lifts and all this stuff. And I was just completely lost. So,
did you consider doing track at all or no?
I actually didn't.
Yeah.
I was like, my body was cooked. Like I was ready. I was ready to have a break. Yeah. So spring semester, my last year was really, really interesting. But I got through it. That's when I started, believe it or not. I want to say a bunch of us went on spring break. We rented 2 passenger vans, and 12 of us drove to Daytona.
Oh, that's awesome.
2 passenger vans and stayed in this little rundown motel. So there's 12 football players in this rundown motel. It was probably one of the greatest times of my life. And so we're down there for a week. When I get back from there, I'm like, man, I had to turn a light switch. I drank too much. I did too much. So that's
there's nothing else to do there.
I know. But that's what's funny is we get back from spring break, and that's when I start hanging out with my wife.
Like, you met her. Oh, that's right.
That's how her and I just started hanging out. God sent. Like I had somebody to spend my time with, it just gave me some kind of a purpose.
Yeah.
So her and I started hanging out for April, some of May, and obviously the rest of that is history. And then I remember a time in April where I was like, Scott, you got to get your shit together. Like, you're going out into the real world. You got to figure this out.
Yeah, you got to be prepared.
Seriously. And so I did some real random stuff for like a year or 2. I did some coaching. I eventually I did some coaching at my high school. I coached football and track a little bit. And then I eventually settled in at, I got this fitness director position at a fitness center. And so I did that for a few years.
Personal
Yeah, like
training type?
personal training and a little bit of facility management, that type of
Right.
stuff. And then my wife, when she graduated, they obviously won the national title that year, which was
Right,
crazy.
right. I
That
forgot,
was that
she's a legend. Yeah.
that's a whole nother story. Like that
Yeah.
was crazy. We honestly we couldn't go anywhere. I mean,
No, I
it was
know. I
unreal.
know.
It was unreal. I remember being at a Friendlies. Do they still have Friendlies?
Yeah, yeah, they do. Do.
Okay, I remember being at a Friendlies with her right after they won it, and we're sitting there trying to order. We get surrounded by
You
people.
got mobbed.
Like I can't see out. I mean, they don't
Yeah.
care about me. And
No, they just want her.
I was like, Pam, this is crazy. Like, but so we had some crazy moments there after they won it, but that was just an incredible
Well,
ride and all that
they were
stuff.
so beloved. I mean, that team, even to this day, I went to the USC game when they played USC,
Yeah,
and the fans adore them. I mean, like, they're a professional team. They
yeah,
love the UConn women. I swear they love the UConn women much more than they love the UConn men.
yeah.
So
It's crazy. It really
that
is.
year was that 95 year was magical.
Yes,
And
it was incredible.
Rebecca Lobo
Yep.
and your wife. I mean, that was such a pivotal moment, especially for Gino, and that's kind of what started the run, that they've had, and what
Absolutely.
has made Gino a legend. So
Yeah,
she
absolutely.
did she graduate? Was it a year or two ahead of you?
Yeah, so she ended up graduating a year after me, and then
Okay.
she went right into PT school, physical
Oh, she went
therapy
to
school.
physical therapy.
So
Okay.
yeah, so she had like a couple of years after that, um, where so I had to wait for her. So, I was just working at this fitness center job while she finished her, degree. And then we ended up, she wanted to move back closer to her family, which is Hollidaysburg, PA. That's kind of how we ended up in State College, PA, which is where Penn State
Right,
is. A
right,
big,
where you
huge
are.
college town. I don't know if you've
Yes.
ever been here, but it's just a massive
Yeah, I
college
have.
town.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
recruited there. Yeah.
Oh,
I was blown away.
so you know what it's like here. So it's a
I
great
got
big
I got
college town.
pictures. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, I was living here when you were recruiting here. I wish I had known that, but anyway.
Yeah.
Uh, but so we ended up down here, and that's kind of how all of that happened.
And then is that when you started working at the Y?
Yeah, I started working at the Y. Started out in wellness, and just kind of worked my way up, And so now I'm the CEO of the YMCA of Center County. We have four facilities that I oversee
Oh, that's
across the
great.
county. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. I enjoy it so much.
Yeah.
Tons of
No, I was.
flexibility.
Yeah.
It allows me to see all my kids' stuff. I mean, it's just great.
Yeah, because I worked with the YMCA in Saratoga, New York, and Albany, New
Yeah,
York,
yeah,
because like I was blown away at how nice the facility was.
yeah, yeah.
State of the art weight room. They had
Yep,
workout rooms. They had absolutely everything.
yep.
It wasn't what you would think a YMCA was.
Right.
So you got there, you moved up, everything's going well. How many kids do you have?
I have two, boy and a girl.
Okay, and the girl ended up going where?
So my daughter's a junior in high school. She
Junior
just
high school.
committed.
Okay,
Yeah, she just committed to American University to play
that's the
lacrosse.
one that committed American. Okay,
Women's lacrosse is crazy. Like
it is.
for Division One, you commit like the September of your junior year,
Yeah, it's
which
different
is
the
so
time frame.
crazy, so
Yeah.
crazy. But we're happy that that's behind us. And then my son is a really nice division. He's a Division 3 basketball player, and so he's always loved basketball. So it's been great. It keeps us busy. We chase him around.
Well,
I
of
just
course. I
I
mean,
enjoy
you've
it.
got, of course, great genes to have kids that have talent and be great athletes. So that's awesome that she's going to be playing Division 1 lacrosse at AIC, and your
Yeah,
son's a basketball player.
yeah,
Couldn't
it's
be
awesome.
happier.
No,
You guys did a
no.
great job. Um,
Yeah, there's nothing like seeing your kids succeed. I don't. It's just something different. It's different when you see them have success.
And you love being around. You love State College, and do you go to
Yeah,
PSU games?
yeah. I not a
On
lot.
occasion?
I get
No.
to some, but not a lot.
Well,
You know,
it's massive. I know how crazy it is there.
it's like a 5-6 hour process. You know,
Yeah.
I always
With
tell
the
people,
tailgate and everything. Yeah.
yeah, I always tell people, I want them to do well. When they do well, it's great for the community. But I didn't go here, so I don't bleed Penn State.
Sure.
So but I do want them to have success, because when they have success, economically, just mentally, it's great for the community.
Yeah. Well, listen, congratulations on, you had a tremendous career at UConn. You've had a tremendous career afterwards. Marrying your wife, winning a national championship, having two kids that are going to be playing college sports and being successful. That is so rare, and that is great. And you're absolutely right about recruiting today. It's completely different. It is, it's the wild, wild west sometimes
Right.
with the NIL, with the transfer portal, and kids just coming and going. And it's
Yeah.
good that they found a home, and I hope it works out. But
Yeah. Appreciate that.
I have to thank our sponsor, Dynamic Human Performance, which is Andre Dixon, UConn legendary running back. He has a 5,000 square foot state of the art facility where he trains boys and girls of all sports. He sent kids to Division I scholarships everywhere. You will hear from him shortly. And then we also have the man, Julius Williams, who runs the Trench Mob, which is in Decatur, Georgia. He trains offensive and defensive linemen, and they are going to start having camps. They're running camps. The first camp is February 23rd in Miami at 10 a.m. You will hear from him next as well. And finally, we have Fresh, Ned Von Young, who has Fresh Fold Laundry Company. This place is outstanding. It's state of the art. They have online appointments. They have a subscription model where you can have weekly or bi-weekly subscriptions. They wash, dry, and fold your clothes in land speed records. It's outstanding. To see all the services they have to offer, go to www.freshfold-laundry.com. And that's Ned Von Young. So those are everyone. Scott, I have to thank you again. This was a fun conversation. Just an
Appreciate
incredible
that.
story, an incredible journey. And I can't wait to get this up. The guys are going to love this. Your teammates are going to love this. And we wish you the best. And we will talk again soon. I'd love to have your wife on, and any other Huskies that I'd love to have them on.
Sure.
So for
Awesome.
the legendary defensive back Scott Mitchell, I am Steve Cully, the best podcast host in the universe. Remember, when life gives you lemons, don't make lemonade. Take 2 oranges,